All right, I'd like to call George for this order and for tonight's pledge of allegiance. I'd like to introduce the folks that have latest Eagle Scout candidate to come forward and lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
Would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jacob's Eagle Scout project is building benches for the Trustee Golf. Located at Lime Hill, so we look forward to seeing that, and congratulations in advance.
Turn the volume up, please.
Turn the volume up.
Your speakers.
Yeah, okay. If the minutes can reflect the roll call of the various trustees and staff, let's move forward to item 2. Item 3, entertain a motion to approve the 12-19 village board and file the 10-24 joint library board, the 11-22 plan commission, the 12-5 finance committee, the 12-12 board of public works, and the 12-14 architectural review board minutes as presented.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Motion in a second. As always, comments, questions, clarifications on the minutes.
Yes, on the December 12th public work, page 6, under the falls traffic wetland drainage matter, the second sentence error, it says the water level has gone down several feet, should be gone down several feet.
I have a couple things. On the village board meeting minutes, December 19, week 5, where it talks about licenses, the second paragraph, Trustee Krueger's last name is spelled wrong. Also under report of bills, Trustee Krueger's name is spelled wrong in the second paragraph. In the plan commission meeting minutes, November 22nd, I'm listed as being present. I was not at that meeting.
Any other corrections? All right, with those corrections being documented, motion is second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. Anybody in the audience who should be heard on a non-agenda item tonight, a non-agenda item? Move forward to item 4. Item 5, business presented by the president. We have our annual tourism report by the Chamber of Commerce. Pam, are you leading this one off? Okay,
Yeah.
Pam.
I need to come up there, or do you want me?
Wherever.
You want me here, Bessie, or back here? You tell me, where do you want me to go?
You can sit down.
Okay, thank you. So thank you again for having us, and we, as always, appreciate working with the village on tourism promotion for our community. Certainly a wonderful community to promote, and certainly challenges relative to promoting in the tourism realm, but we think we're doing a pretty good job, and we'll continue to get better every day. We did present to you our annual report. You received it, the paper. You have a very busy agenda, a lot of things certainly pressing that I don't want to supersede, but a couple things I just want to point out. A few things that I brought with me today. Certainly all those magazines, I'm not trying to contribute to anything by way of pollution, but I want you to see the kinds of advertising we're doing and where we're doing it. Most importantly, what I wanted to share with you is a handout that I added to you today that talks about our website and our reach. One of the things that we know we've done differently over the last quarter for sure is that the top cities in our reach for our website, among the top cities, Mequon, Milwaukee, Grafton, Chicago. We reached 650 people in our website on Q4, which tells us that we've really made an impact in the advertising we're doing, and we're going further beyond just the metropolitan Milwaukee and the state of Wisconsin. We're working into the Chicagoland. We know that it's making a difference, and we know that people are booking hotels as a result. So I wanted to point that out to you. Also wanted to point out to you, one of the campaigns that we did this holiday season was Jerome the Gnome. While that seems kind of corny and it seems like it wouldn't be a tourism related thing, Jerome visited 30 businesses, almost 30 businesses in our community from December to January. We reached 54,000 people on Facebook. That is miraculous and cost us no money, just time. My staff is brilliant in knowing how to do these kinds of campaigns, and we just really wanted you to know that we were able to engage our retail shops, professional services, restaurants, manufacturers, schools, and nonprofits. And 30 posts got us 54,000 in reach. So wanted to share that with you. Additionally, wanted to share with you something that we saw recently posted about the median home values in our area relative to the rest of the county. This is really not a tourism direct link, but wanted you to see that relative to the other communities in our county, namely Cedarburg, Mequon, and Port Washington. There's also more information about Thiensville and Saukville, but top 4, we were number 1 in the number of homes sale. The median sale price was $485,000. That's pretty amazing. Kudos to you as a village for continuing to have development happen, and for our home values to continue to be on the rise. So kudos to you. And we believe that has an impact on us in terms of tourism development and the way that we can continue to promote a community that is continuing to grow, provide a full service community, which is something that most of our neighbors, none of our neighbors have. So those are key indicators for us that we know we're doing the right things. Does anyone have any questions? I don't want to take up time that you don't want me to take. I've also given you some postcards, so wanted you to see some of those. My staff, Elizabeth is here, our special events and tourism promotion coordinator. She has been very creative in her promotion of what she's doing. We've created postcards, and Tom, that's what's in front of you. Feel free to take any that you'd like. We have put that out on Facebook that there are now Grafton postcards. I've been here 21 years, and the number of people who come in our office looking for them grows all the time. So we do have postcards, and they're really great. So if anybody needs some, they're there. But Tom, if you wouldn't mind sharing those. That's all I've got, unless there's questions.
Any questions for Pam? All right. Yep, go ahead.
Pam, this is a very complete report. Every year you do this, and it amazes me that there's always something new every year or every other year.
Trying to be like you guys.
Is this on the website for visitors or anybody visiting your site to see?
That report is not on my website. It is on your website because it's my report to the village. So I don't consider it to be public information that I would share because it's a report to you. What you do, I think is really valuable, and it is on your website, and it's on the link to today. So I certainly could share it on my site, but I think it's more important that it's shared to you because we are a contracted service to the village.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Pam. Much appreciated. That being said, let's move on to resolutions, ordinance, action items. Item A is a report of the Plan Commission. Item 1 is the resolution for public participation plan for comprehensive plan amendments, and item 2 is the ordinance for amendments to the village draft and comprehensive plan for the 2035 related to the farmstead and falls at 912 Port Washington Road. These items are very much related, so we will do one overview and then take action on both items. Jessica, you want to go ahead and get us started?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to keep my comments brief, but please feel free to ask any questions and we can get into the details. First, I want to clarify that this comprehensive plan amendment is for the Farmstead on Falls proposed development, not the Seasons development and not the Triangle. This action is completely separate from other future comprehensive plan amendments, and the board should judge this development against just itself, not the others. Unlike some actions, Unlike some actions that the village takes, like conditional use permits and rezonings, the village has the utmost control over comprehensive plan amendments. And approving this one does not mean that the village has to approve others, and no special findings are required for this approval. The amendment itself includes a map change and various text changes. Just a reminder to the board, here we have the location map up on the screen. The proposed development is at the northeast corner of Falls Road and Port Washington Road on approximately 9-acre site. Here is the here's the concept plan that was presented in October. The board will notice that it did have the separate buildings for the townhouse units and the separate lot for the commercial space on Port Washington Road. Here is the updated concept plan for the project. You'll notice that those townhouse buildings have been removed, and those units have been integrated into the main building. So we're still looking at a total of 172 units. And then those comprehensive plan changes again include a map change, which would be map number 1, the future land use, changing the designation on this site from office to, medium scale multifamily. This is the previous version, but again, it's changing it to medium scale multifamily. Here are just some of the text amendments that are being proposed. And again, we could certainly walk through those if there are any questions. I wanted to focus the rest of the presentation, the rest of my remarks on some of the concerns that have been raised during the review process, namely traffic impacts, property value impacts, school district impacts, proposed or potential demand for high-end rental housing, and impacts on providing village services. Regarding traffic, the village has completed a traffic study for the intersection of Port Washington and Falls Road, and a signal or a roundabout has been determined to be warranted. A signal or a roundabout would be constructed if either Farmstead or the Seasons developments move forward. Regarding impact on nearby property values, the developer has provided several studies that found that there is no negative impact on property values for properties that are nearby high quality, professionally managed multifamily developments. In addition, the packet includes a table of property values near the lumberyard development downtown, pre and post construction. So it was 2016 to 2020, I believe the table was. And residential property values actually increased on average of 26%. Next, regarding the school district impacts, the developer estimates that there will be 10 or fewer school-aged children living at the farmstead. This is based on their existing development, which is very similar to the proposed farmstead called the Tuscany in Madison. It has 172 high-end apartment units and has 6 children living in there currently. Regarding demand, other high-end apartment developments in Ozaukee County have an average vacancy rate right now of less than 2%. So some range from 0 to 5, and one development did have a vacancy rate of 9%. That was the highest one in Ozaukee County of similar quality developments. Regarding village services, there are no department concerns about providing services to this specific development. Of course, there are cumulative demands on services that must be taken into consideration as the village grows. Just want to, admit one more person here. Okay. So those are some of the concerns and that we've heard throughout this process. I want to clarify for the board that there are 2 action items on the agenda tonight. First is approval of a public participation plan, and this is simply a state statute that is required anytime a community updates their comprehensive plan. You need to have a public participation plan outlining how you will be accepting public information and integrating that into the plan. That has to be approved as we go forward tonight. The second item is the actual motion for the adoption of the plan amendment specifically related to Farmstead on Falls. So that is, those are the 2 action items. Brian McLaren, the developer, and his team are here. They would like to give a presentation, including the new architectural renderings and a fly-through of the proposed development. President Runco, would you like that now, or would you like to take questions first?
Go through the presentation.
Good evening. I'm Bruce McLaren. I'm a principal of the H. Knox Development Company. Thank you for your time and consideration of our Farmstead on Falls project. I've been in the apartment and management business for 52 years, starting in 1971 in Hinsdale, Illinois.
I've organized, invested in, and managed over 150 real estate limited partnerships. And more than 100 of those have funded apartment projects. At the peak of that career, my management company, DCRM, an AMO, or accredited management organization under the auspices of the National Association of Realtors, managed just over 3,000 apartment units in Illinois, Wisconsin, Indiana, and Florida. Although now partially retired, I still have major management interests and responsibilities for more than 700 Class A apartment projects or apartment units in developments in Wisconsin and southeastern western Florida. Throughout the last 5 decades in this industry, my business and I have successfully navigated political swings, economic recessions, natural disasters, and global pandemic. Like you, we've come to understand the dedication and foresight that it takes to create a community that offers a high quality of life. For over 50 years, I've been building durable assets that complement and strengthen communities like Grafton. In every property where I have had a development role, I have always been proud of the quality that we have created and the professionalism of the management. If given the opportunity to proceed with the Falls, we will develop a cornerstone residential community that will support the future responsible growth of Grafton. My son Brian has partnered with me professionally since 2013. He has managed financial growth of various portfolios. He has syndicated new opportunities. He's worked with local governments and cultivated positive impacts on those residential communities. Brian owns and manages 2 apartment buildings in Milwaukee, has a meaningful management role in the Marling, a 228 unit mid-rise on Washington Street or Avenue in Madison, and has development and management role in a 100 unit project in Florida that was just completed in 2019. His experience working with elected officials from the ground up on multifamily developments, commercial real estate, and philanthropic endeavors that he and his wife have undertaken. Patience he's developed highlights his patience, long-term vision, growth mindset, and holistic perspective that you would want to be a part of Grafton's future. Together, Brian and I have created the H-Knox Development Company with high hopes, high expectations, and the recognition of its responsibilities. The proposed farmstead on Falls is inspired by the Tuscany, a highly successful 170 unit building in suburban Madison. The farmstead will be very similar to the Tuscany and will offer a slightly refined quality of life, but with a more modern, sophisticated look. And it is intended to offer the strongest amenity suite in Ozaukee County. Brian will be happy to tell you more about farmstead.
Good evening, I'm Brian, and of course, I'm with the H-Knox Development Company. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you this evening, and I want to reiterate our appreciation for your time and consideration of the project. I was first drawn to the Grafton community in 2014 while conducting a market study of Northern Ozaukee County, as we opened a 501c3 that provides services to veterans with disabilities and individuals with special needs. Throughout our research, I quickly learned that Grafton was a growing economic hub, and it became clear that the village staff and elected officials had exerted considerable effort in the responsible growth of this community. Our discussion on the Farm Center Falls began with the village staff about 8 months ago. Since, we have listened to feedback from the community, the village staff, and elected officials, and presented evolutions of the Farm Center Falls concept at several planning meetings. Here's what the site looks like today. First, looking northeast from Falls and Port Washington Road corner. Second, looking north from Falls Road in front of the church. And finally, looking east from Port Washington Road. On the property is a dilapidated 2-story farmhouse, some conventional farm-style outbuildings, and a large concrete silo. There's also a barn that we intend to deconstruct and repurpose for future development. The easternmost 6 acres of the site is all torn up for the construction of Interstate 43. This is a contract that was put into place before we took over the land, and the proceeds of that contract have been assigned to charity. We know that tonight the village board is not voting on the final product or the site plan, and much process remains before we can proceed. But we are very pleased to share the architectural direction our collaborative approach has taken thus far. In our pursuit to bring luxury apartment homes to Grafton, our conversations with village representatives have led us to design a master plan, medium density development with a future commercial component that will ease the transition from retail into housing along the North Port Washington Road corridor. An architecturally sophisticated mid-rise elevator building with underground parking that artfully displays a facade of natural materials, colors, and includes pitched roofs. A planned development that helps manage current and future traffic flow at an already challenging intersection. A self-contained development that will not weigh heavily on village services, and one with a thoughtful, efficient, high-quality landscape plan that effectively manages water runoff and maximizes green space. The site remains unique as it sits on a well-known corner of a to-be-controlled intersection. It is the only development in process that allows residents to leave the site immediately and immediately travel in all 4 cardinal directions. A resident can leave the site on the north, travel north or south along North Port Washington Road, or access the site along Falls Road east or from the west. We have shared several times our interest in and willingness to participate in the addition of a traffic light at the intersection of Falls and Port Washington Road, which for reference would be on this corner. The traffic study was completed in August of 2022 and will be updated when the county and other required representatives meet to design and implement the change. Stormwater retention ponds will be located here on the east side and here on the southwest corner. And for the one in the southwest corner, we plan to implement a fountain, which will create an eye-catching landscape for all as they commute into Grafton. The most important thing to know about the stormwater plan is that the site will be engineered so that less water will flow from the site once it's developed than currently flows from it now. Additionally, we plan to implement a water reclamation program to pull water from the ponds to irrigate the property, which will maintain a 49% green space, which exceeds the 35% required by code. Here's a brief video showing what the Farm Center Falls will look like once it's completed. As you can see from the video, some of the outdoor amenities from the project will include a resort-style pool, sun deck with oversized fireplace and pergolas, an off-leash dog park, picnic and grilling areas throughout, outdoor games, 2 stormwater ponds, rooftop entertainment venue, meticulous landscaping with a walking path throughout the property, and an all-seasons covered porch. Indoor amenities will include a movie theater and screening room, conference center with dedicated work from home pods, year-round indoor hot tub, car wash station, pet grooming salon, coffee bar, fitness studio complete with Peloton and yoga spaces, electric vehicle charging stations, bike storage and repair, and a community room and event center. The apartments themselves will include thoughtful and spacious floor plans, first floor private entries, modern frameless showers, private balconies with oversized glass doors, full-size high-efficiency washers and dryers, luxury style flooring, designer selections and finishes with granite countertops, dedicated work from home spaces in about 50% of the units, quiet closed cabinetry, and highly efficient appliance and lighting packaging. We understand that this type of housing project is a departure from Grafton's current comprehensive plan. And while we recognize the value in long-term planning, we also recognize that communities change and evolve. The events of 2020 and the COVID pandemic have forever changed the world and the workforce. As a result, the economic drivers of communities and development must adapt, not simply to survive and maintain the status quo, but more importantly, to thrive. As you know, this parcel is slated for office or institutional future development, which under Grafton's current zoning could allow for uses such as group housing and community living, like hospice, end-of-life care, homeless shelters, or detention centers. It could also be utilized for large-scale public service to include the construction and installation of overhead power lines and public utility service centers. There has even been discussion about the adoption of this land for large-scale manufacturing. While there's nothing wrong with any one of these uses, and each are necessary to meet different needs, we don't believe that any one of them make a compelling case for the highest and best use for a parcel as prominent as this one. This parcel welcomes people to the village from the south and maintains premier visibility from both directions on Interstate 43. Not only do the heavy commercial uses such as the one outlined above not create an inviting entrance to the community, but they will also exacerbate congestion and access problems with limited overall benefit. As for future office, we and many other industry professionals know that the office market has not yet fully reacted to the new work from home culture, as corporate leases have not yet expired. Not only will the office market continue to struggle with occupancy rates, but development activity will disappear. The farmstead will attract professionals who can now work from home, but also crave meaningful connection in their community. While traditional office space provided camaraderie for previous generations, those who now work from home are actively seeking ways to get involved with churches and civic groups like the Lions Club. The farmstead will attract the type of people who will step up to make sure that organizations like these continue to serve the community for future generations. Some have expressed concern about the effect that multifamily developments have on the value of nearby single-family homes. As a firm, we have reviewed and shared much research on the topic and are pleased to share that there is a measurable positive impact on the value of nearby single-family homes. We also know that the net effect is much greater when the development that is introduced is as high caliber as the farm center falls will be. An additional benefit is that luxury multifamily introduces a new group of capable future home buyers to this market at a very important part of the housing cycle. By measure, there is no better asset class to protect and enhance the value of homes in an area like Grafton than professionally managed Class A multifamily. Jessica has also shared some local research that supports the increase in single-family home values in Grafton before and after the lumberyard apartments were delivered in 2017. We recognize there is a concern about the added stress a development like the Farmstead Falls could put on village services like schools, parks, police, and emergency responders. However, from our extensive experience managing high-end communities, we can proudly share that we expect that Farmstead Falls will bring approximately 220 new capable residents to the area, but add fewer than 10 school children to the entire system. Maintain an average household income of $78,000, which is higher than the village's current average. Add fewer than 8 annual service calls to Grafton's police and fire departments combined, with 0 violent offenses. Per measure, the Grafton Police Department currently receives approximately 250 calls for service every week, or 13,000 calls per year. We expect the development will add 0 responsibility to the current snow, salting, and landscape workloads performed by the Public Works Department. And the farmstead will fund a significant part of the expansion of the Riverbend Park and supplement other department budgets through impact fees and a substantial future real estate tax responsibility. Each municipal department has had the opportunity to comment on the potential stresses the farm setup walls may put on the system. However, no departments have expressed a concern at this point, and each will have several opportunities to review and discuss as we continue working through the planning and approvals procedure. While time and process remain to make minor refinements to the farm setup walls, we hope you, the board, understand that by electing to adopt the comprehensive language change that has been recommended by the Planning Commission and the village staff, that the village will gain a very capable, driven, and accommodating development partner that through collaboration and a shared vision will develop an excellent customized housing project that the village will be proud to support. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian and Bruce. Jessica, I don't want to put you on the hot seat, but a couple things, facts that maybe would be good for educational purposes. Do you have the total amount of impact fees that would be generated by this?
Mr. McLaren did you turn it off?
I did, I'm sorry.
Mr. McLaren provided an estimate for them. I think it was around $750,000.
Gross impact fees are 1.3 million,
1.3 million.
to include water connection fees and the like.
All right, thank you. And then I just wanted to, since you've been here 9 years and comprehensive plan was last done in 2016, almost 7 years ago, have we seen any interest, formal interest at all from an office or commission use for that property?
Unfortunately, the village has not received any interest in anything except multifamily for this site.
All right, with that being said, I'll open it up to public comment and then I'll open up to village board comment and then we'll take action. I would like to just to remind everybody that we did have extensive discussion at both staff level and at plan commission. I know a ton of due diligence has been done by all the trustees. I really appreciate that. I think that it's important that we go into decisions like this with reasoned arguments, and the fact that we are looking at where is our community, what do we need to do to remain competitive, how do we continue to fund our cumulative services. I think that was the term that I heard. We talk about police and fire and public works and things like that, but what we also need to include is we need to include things like increased insurance costs and increased wage costs and there's a lot of other costs that the village has to account for on an annual basis. We do need to continue to grow and improve our community in order to survive. So again, if there's specific comments that anybody would like to make, otherwise I'll open it up to village board for comments. Yes, Mr. Hoff.
It's Harback.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Harbeck. Sorry.
Bill Harback, 907 17th Avenue. I just have a clarification because the report refers to the plan commission approval of an amendments to the future comprehensive plan in November of relating to this project. That is not the language that you are proposing to amend the future comprehensive plan today. You're approving the language that the plan commission approved in its December meeting. Jessica's report reflects that language, but the language that the plan commission approved at its November meeting was the prior language, which opened the door to any location in the village. I just want to be sure that's not the language that you're requesting be approved. It's the language that was approved by the plan commission at its meeting a month later.
Thank you, Mr. Harbeck. Yes, that is correct. This project or the comprehensive plan amendment went to the plan commission twice. And the information that is in the packet and on the screen is the plan commission recommended version of the amendments.
From its December meeting.
From the December meeting.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you.
Yes, Steve.
I had this
thing over than up here, but I've got a question for you. Who are we competing against? What, falling
Keep the
behind?
microphone closer to your mouth. Thank
Sure.
you.
Can you hear me now?
Thank you.
Who are we competing against? Who are we falling behind? Things have been very well run in this village for the last 20 years. I didn't understand the last comment, unusual costs, ways to fund things. I get it all, but the thing of it is you have a set of rules here. And you're rewarding the people who are actively trying to break things. There were many reasons given for the need for these projects, and they are all connected. It's not just one individual one and then the next individual one, they're all connected. And when you look at the reasons we were told the hospital wanted it, well, that's not really true. We were told a bunch of things. The bottom line is, do you want to take land that'll be valuable for commercial development, retail in the future? Give it over to multifamily, because right now, there's not a real interest in that, but it'll come back. There's plenty of room in the village for infill development, south commercial development. This project would have been perfect in the South Commercial District, very urban, very big, all contained in one building. It would have been perfect for it. You're not going to get any kind of that development if you allow this to go on Fort Washington Road. I think everybody knows that. And another thing is you've had crowded meetings with a lot of people concerned about this. And I think the job of the board is to reflect the concerns of people, treat their ideas and opinions with respect. And if you want to do that, you vote no on this tonight, because there's been a lot of opposition. You could say, well, we didn't have 1,000 people at the meetings. No, but you had more than usual. Usually you have 1 or 2 people at these meetings. So, the development fees and everything sounds great, but it doesn't come free. And the numbers they've given you, I have respect for this company. They're in the same business I am. They've done a great job over the years, and it's a good project. It's not a proper project for that location. So, if you want to stand up for the community and keep the development good, then go back and change the plan ahead of time, rather than changing it at the developer's whim. It's not a good way to do business. And if you want to put the community first, please vote no on this.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Jessica, there was 2 comments. As far as South Commercial, I don't see any available property that would accommodate this type of development that's left.
There's
Other than that's not already spoken for.
there's the Aller site that currently for sale on South Commercial. It's obviously a little bit smaller than this property. I have literally shoved that property at every developer who I can talk to. And I'm just not getting any interest there. It's a challenging site. So I think that would be the only similar site that would be about 1/3 of the size of this site.
And I think the other thing,
It's much more expensive too,
just
right?
want to clarify one other point. There was a lot of people that attended the Plan Commission, and a lot of the issues have been documented, and I think that was a good segue into Jessica's presentation today, which basically took a lot of those issues and took them internally and with even external resources, and worked through and at least address the concerns that have been brought to the Plan Commission. Other comments? I'll open it up to the village board for feedback. Dave.
I'll start. Jessica and Jim has been saying for quite some time now that Aurora really wants this type of housing. I had a procedure last week at the hospital. I spoke with anesthesiologists, nurses, hospital staff, told them I was on the village board and what's going on. I told them what the price could be, $2,500 to $3,000 a month. They said, if I had that much money, I could pay $24,000 to $30,000 a year off my mortgage and have my own property. I think Brian and your group did a great job. Very pure living, but I feel there are too many people in a small area. Seems like dangling that money before us as tax dollars is what we're getting. These developments, I feel, will bring many residents to the community. But they will be here to use the retail business, go back to their jobs, and no make Grafton a better community. I've heard from a lot of people in this community. I've been here 37 years, so I know a lot of people. And I feel as a member of the village board, I represent the people. And not be my decision in my heart to vote for this development.
Tom, did you have any thoughts?
Just a couple. I like the presentation, the proposal. I think it's was done very well. And there's a lot of good in it for Grafton. It's attractive, it fills a niche, adds certainly to our tax base. And if we didn't have a future plan, a comprehensive plan that identified a good or best use for that Port Washington corridor, I would say this would be ideal there. But the fact that we have a comprehensive plan dating back to 2016 amendments with what I feel was a very well-conceived plan, good vision, and I'm not sure I'm just ready to give up on the vision for the office and business. Now, I understand there's a trend maybe away from it, but it's an excellent corridor, and I'm wondering if we should give it a little bit more time, as things could change yet.
Yeah, Jim?
I'm kind of concerned about the process where our local developers never really had a chance to develop this because they were following the comprehensive plan that it was zoned commercially, not residential. And so someone from out of town, I personally agree with you, Tom, it's very impressive. But I think it was handled, I think it's fair to say, not very professional. Especially to our local developers who have been here for a long time. And they deserve a chance to at least have a crack at developing that area as well.
Can you please clarify what the average cost of rent may be? I've heard a lot of different numbers going around.
Certainly. Rent will be we intend to have studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, both 1 bedrooms with dens and 2 bedrooms with dens. Between $1,500 and $2,600 a month, depending on the unit and the layout. I'd also like to clarify that we're a local developer. I live in Ozaukee County. I've been here since 2015. And that there will be a commercial component to this development to ease the transition southbound.
Jessica, have there been local developers in the past that have asked to develop this location?
No.
I do also believe that communities change and evolve. I don't think it's unrealistic to change the comprehensive plan. I think we are going to see more millenniums moving into our area who are marrying later in life, having fewer children, if any, and they don't want the responsibility of home ownership. I believe the impact fees that we see from a development like this are huge for our community, not to mention the increase in the sales tax. They will shop here, they'll hopefully work here, they will perhaps start businesses here. All of this is going to be a benefit for us for our future planning. We need to bring income to this area. We need to bring revenue. If we want our parks to look better, if we want a better pool in the future, we have to bring some income to this community. I believe we're not only going to pull from the south, I think we're going to pull from the north. Companies like Sargento, Acuity, Kohler, they have employees right now who are commuting from the Milwaukee area. I'm not convinced that we need or want more multifamily downtown. Space is very limited. I believe there's no concerns from our police department on regarding this development. The fire department indicates it's a safe building. The added tax dollars, I'm hoping that we would use towards new projects, towards the fire department perhaps. There's no impact with our public works, utilities will be pretty easy connections. We hear complaints about the traffic on Port Road and Falls Road. This is gonna be resolved with a traffic signal coming in. And the traffic study that we hired indicates that the intersections are expected to operate acceptably and remain with the remaining build out of Blue Stem and River Bend, including this mixed development. I don't believe there's going to be a burden on the school districts. Apartments are typically more attractive to the single people or couples without children or the empty nesters. And I would be shocked to see more than a dozen school-aged children at a development like this. I think the couples that have children are going to have infants or preschool age children with the hopes that they will keep their roots here in Grafton and get a single family home at some point. The U.S. Census Bureau reports that I research are showing that working communities with multi-family dwellings have higher property values than working communities without them. Multifamily developments tend to follow the jobs. Whenever there's a large concentration of employees, there's going to be more apartment communities. What affects the property value is not the apartments. It's the crime rate, it's age and condition of your home, it's the usable home space and location. Aurora is currently in the process of creating a large strategic development plan, and they've inquired about future developments. They did not utilize the housing initially as they thought that they would when they first came into our community. However, they now have more hospitalists employed there than before, and these hospitalists are working 7 days on, 7 days off. These employees are showing an interest in more local housing options. There is more of a demand in multifamily than you may think. We have seen an influx within our county. Mequon's tapped out. Saukville is up and coming. If they, the developers, don't build here, they will there. And again, it brings a younger demographics, all who are in the working age frame. That's not to say that we won't see retirees show up with an interest as well, but many, again, don't want the responsibility of home ownership any longer. The changes that are anticipated to the future land use are to be expected. I'm in favor of this development.
Okay, thank you. Lisa?
So I just want to review that when we vote tonight. The first thing we're going to vote on is that we're the public participation plan, which is giving the public a chance to participate and give their opinions. That's the first portion. The second portion is to authorize the amendment changes for the future to go forward, specifically for the Farmstead on Falls. There's been other developments that have come in, other developers that have shown an interest here, and that's fine. One of the things that Amy referenced was the traffic study, and that was recently done, I believe in August, and that was specifically for Falls Road and Fort Washington Road in respect to this development. Breathing down our neck is the next development, the Seasons. And I worry about that impact along with the traffic study and how that will also impact traffic flow on Fort Washington Road. It's tough to get out from Riverbend now. So that is one of my future worries about that. I don't know if you will ask them to do another traffic study. So that's a concern that I have. My biggest concern and problem I have is the process that this started, how this started. And I feel like this looks like a great project. Unfortunately, some of us didn't see it coming. Those of us who are not in the staff area, we did not see that this was coming. So some of our local developers did not necessarily have an opportunity to approach the planner with their planners, possibly of higher density housing. We have something in place now, and that was updated in 2016. That is what people look at, and that is what they follow here in the village when they're looking to come in. So in my opinion, it would have been different if we started out by somebody saying to us, hey, here's the trends, they're changing, this is what we think we need to do. So I feel like it all happened at the same time, and we are making concessions for a developer and then changing adding the amendments after the fact. So the process is not what I like. I know that there's been discussion with the schools, and they have said that they need time to plan. And that there's been some studies in the Madison area, and it shows that there's not a lot of kids. That could or couldn't happen, because there's a lot of families that cannot find housing. I know that the department heads had an opportunity to weigh in, and I was able to speak with a number of people about that. This development is self-contained, that looks fine. I do worry about the fire department, however, even though the chief says that he doesn't necessarily think that will affect him. He's a department that runs with mostly paid on call / volunteers. We are asking now if we can utilize personnel from another community to help with the demand that we have in the fire department. 189 apartments at the farmstead. I think that there will actually be more than 220 people living there. So I'm just concerned about the number of people that will impact the fire department, the EMS services. I'm again, it seems like a beautiful development, and I wish that it would have gone into the area that we designated. I know that we may not have room in the downtown area or the south commercial now. I don't like the way this was presented. It's backwards to me. And again, I feel like even if we need it, other people in the community did not have an opportunity to weigh in and present some other alternative to how it's currently zoned. I would ask going forward, I mean, this amendment will change the current plan, thus the amendment. I don't know if that means we need to have another meeting down the road and involve the community for any future amendments, or if this will kind of set the stage for the future. So those are my concerns.
Okay, thank you. Dan?
Yes, first of all, thank you to all the residents who did reach out to me in concerning this development. Sentinel events are really important for us to take a look at. We've had quite a few Sentinel events that have taken place in the last 3 or 4 years. We've had a really thriving housing market. We've had devastating COVID pandemic that's taken place. And now we have some financing issues that are taking place as we have a lot of inflation. So I think that we have high interest rates. I think people are going to be struggling to find down payments on houses. I believe that this process could have probably gone better. There's no doubt about it. I think that revision of the plan every couple of years, or at least a review of the plan, is really a good idea. And I think moving forward, that's what I'd like to see. However, everybody on this village board knows the pain of a budget. We all know it. We see it. We see it every year. We see people asking, our directors asking for things that they think are really going to help our community, that are going to improve services. I get probably about 5 complaints a month regarding our services. Our garbage is getting picked up. We need better fire response. We need a full-time fire department. What are we doing with police response? Do we have enough officers on the road? All of these things are really hard for us to come to grips when we don't have the funds that we need. What's looking us in the face right now, of course, is should we have followed the rules? Should we have followed the way of going ahead and changing our comprehensive? Absolutely. I'm not sure the Sentinel events that took place these last couple of years really gave us the time to look at that. However, we're sitting on $1.3 million of impact fees that will go right into our village, plus about $400,000 to $500,000, as I heard, of real estate tax that could be coming on an annual basis into our village coffers that will allow us to provide more services, to keep our tax rates at a very reasonable rate. I look at the folks that are out there that really are struggling. I look at the folks that want more services and I think to myself, geez, should we approve something like this or should we just say no? But let's be honest, that's developable, annexable property. You don't do it, somebody else is going to do that. And I've heard that on multiple developments in the village. If I don't do this, someone else is going to do that. And it's very true. Lastly, I want to take a look at retail and office. I mean, I know this pandemic has really changed how we work, all of us. I'm retired, so it really changed how I work. But with that said, there are more and more people who are working from home. There are more people who may be going into offices twice a week or twice a month. And I guess what I see is that's really changed. Second thing is retail. One of our crown jewels of retail here, which really draws people into our community, not only Farm and Fleet, but Costco. Costco is 20 acres. And their real estate taxes roughly around $200,000 a year. So this project would generally generate double the amount of tax revenue for our village that would allow us to provide more services and keep the tax rate low versus what Costco is doing. Half the property, double the real estate tax. So I guess for me, I got to look at the long term here. I can't look at the short term. I got to look at what I found this community was 37 years ago when I moved here. We had barely had these stoplights in this town. This is a farm community, but it's changed. It's much different because of our retail. It's become a place where people want to move. And I believe that we have to be able to have multiple living spaces for people who want to move here. And I believe that this is a step in the right direction.
And I thank you. So I think, first off, I appreciate all the feedback. Some of the comments that I just want to kind of add to, when we talk about services and things like that, we depend on department heads when we do impact analysis and things like that. So if, we rely on the professionals. So if the professionals here say, this is a project that they can accommodate, I think that's something that we can hang our hats on. I think the other thing that I kind of heard is really it's not only about the money. It's about being a full service community. And one of the full services, a full service community does provide housing options for the maximum amount of diversity that we can provide. And this is an opportunity for the village to start breaking into that area. We don't have this. As far as process goes, that's a magic 8-ball. If you say that, if this would have been, I don't know, it would have been anything else, we would still be having this same discussion. But the point is we have an opportunity to bring this particular area into the village's control, which gives us a lot of ability when we talk about directing and being able to influence what type of development happens on Fort Washington Road. And if you don't recall, it wasn't more than probably 6 or 8 months ago when we had a project that was presented in the town on this corner that would have been basically of no value to the community. And it would have been, again, completely not in accord with the comprehensive master plan of the village. The village has to have the ability to react based on market conditions and by the evolving change of the environment and the economy. The process that's listed here is a valid process to make changes to the comprehensive master plan. So it's not inappropriate for us to follow approved and legal process. This is not a backwards process. I'm going to put this on the table. Entertaining resolution by the village board for the village of Grafton comprehensive plan public participation plan for 2022-23 be adopted. That was the resolution, so it takes it off a motion in a second.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Offer motion second. Final comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passed, that resolution passes. Item 2 is an ordinance, motion to approve an ordinance for amendments to the Village of Grafton Comprehensive Plan for 2035 related to the farmstead on Falls Development be approved.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? And
Yay.
Opposed.
show of hands, all in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4 on against. 1, 2, 3, that motion passes. So we do have many steps in front of us. We have annexation, we have site plan, we have all sorts of meetings as far as plan commission, but this at least allows the steps for public participation to move forward. So thank you all very much. That being said, if anybody wishes to vacate, you're more than I will give you a minute. Otherwise, we'll move forward with the rest of the. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
you.
Hopefully I'll see you as possible. There's a story there.
Did you buy that standing desk? Did you buy that standing desk?
All right, let's move forward with item B for the finance committee. We have 3 items. Let me get my. caught up with these. Doing this well. All right. Okay, for the finance committee, I have one of the amendments to the seasonal pay structure. I entertain a motion to approve the following changes to the village draft and classification structure for the seasonal employees effective February 1st, 2023, and those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are listed.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Motion and a second, comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? That motion passes. Item 2 is a motion to approve the new engineering technician 1 and update the engineering technician 2 job descriptions and associated pay grade assignments.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Motion and a second, final comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 3 is a motion to approve the new assistant building inspector job description and associated pay grade assignment.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second, final comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Finance committee is complete. Let's move on to item C. The report of the Board of Public Works. We have 5 items. Item 1 is a motion to recommend the village board accept the proposal from Core Maine to purchase 625 5/8 inch meters and 625 5/8 inch meters.
5/8 inch,
5/8 inch meters. Inch meters
yes,
is a thing.
yes.
Okay. And 625 radio registered for a cost not to exceed $200,448.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Motion is second, and what is it?
Right, I believe we're in our 5th year of changing over to these AMI meters throughout the village, so that we
Oh,
have
the
more.
more.
Yep.
All right. This is trying to, I was going distances, not things.
Yes,
Got it. All right. Motion is second, final comments. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Item 2 is a motion to recommend the village board authorize a lease with option to purchase a Vector 2100 combination sewer cleaner from McLean and Footman in the amount not to exceed $421,320 be approved.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion and second, final comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? That motion passes. Item 3 is a motion to recommend the village board authorize the purchase of a 2022 F-250 truck and body from Holiday Ford of Fond du Lac for $66,173 be approved.
I'll make the first motion.
I'll second.
Motion and second, comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Item 4 is a motion to recommend the village board authorize the purchase of a truck chassis and cab to be used for a 5-yard dump truck from Creek Truck Center for $128,252.20. Be approved.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second, comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Item 5 is a motion to recommend the village board approve the payment to the town of Grafton for 294 feet of new pavement on Treaty Lane in the amount of $13,629.16, utilizing savings from the 2022 road program fund contingent upon receiving clarification from finance directors to do the hire.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Mr. Steinhardt.
Yep, I will
What's his
confirm,
response?
yes, that I did check with him, and because we did receive the new road in 2022, it is appropriate to use the 2022 funding to pay for this.
All good, anything else? Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes, please send them a thank you card. Move on to item 7, department office reports. Jeff, you want to get us started?
Sure, just a few items. Hopefully I'm not stealing the thunder of a couple of our department heads here in attendance this evening, but happy to report the Centennial Park scoreboard is scheduled to be installed tomorrow. It's been a long awaited installation, so we're happy to see that come to fruition. Public Works will be holding interviews for the crew person openings that have been advertised this Friday. Those openings have come about through retirement, but then also we'd be looking at a limited term employee because we have an individual who is reporting for duty, military service duty. So looking to fill those roles. Out of the police department, Sergeant Sutherland has received his final confirmation for his attendance at the FBI National Academy in June. This is a national level leadership training opportunity and is a first for the Grafton Police Department. I'm pretty excited about that opportunity there on behalf of the police department. Last but not least, there will be a February 21st primary election for State Supreme Court and District 8 State Senate seat. This primary will not apply to the village seats up for election later in spring. And so the clerk's office has begun work with regards to the February 21st primary election. That is my update for this evening.
All right, thank you. We have good representation from staff. Any questions for Jesse or the rest of our departments? Or anything that you wish to share with the board?
Jesse, past library director Hanson indicated that he was not satisfied with the cleaning service, and I saw there was a missed service. I don't know if it was with the police department cleaning service. I guess what I'm asking is, I think we talked about maybe revisiting that. Where are we?
We are actually taking a look at and gathering comments from the departments and taking a look at what the overall budget for the contracted help is. And we're exploring if it was financially viable to hire an individual that would be village staff that could rotate and travel to the various facilities and clean and do light maintenance for us. That's what we're researching right now because we have had very difficult luck with the contracted firms that we've been utilizing.
Okay, so when can we expect to hear that from you on that?
I can follow up with the other departments and see where that's at and then start crunching numbers with finance. I'll get back to the village board or finance committee in about a month.
And then also the garbage pickup. When is that contract's up now in 2023, right? Like where are we with?
It is, it goes through the end of 2023, because it's been a 10-year contract. I anticipate there will be changes in costs when we go out to get a new contract. So we're working on putting together an RFP for that now. Hoping to get that out this spring so that this summer we can make a choice about what direction we want to go. So we have those numbers when we're cracking the 2024 budget.
I had the opportunity to meet two of your employees. Tom and Brad, who a few days ago were working down near the golf course.
Okay.
And that Circle Drive floods all the time. And Brad had figured out that the curb actually curves around and goes straight down into the river. That whole section is overgrown with grass. And he dug it out. And the minute he dug it out, all the water drained into the river. So I don't know if that used to be a boat launch, is what I'm thinking, but I've been told, yes. So maybe we could look into doing something with that. It's somewhat of an eyesore now.
Right, so that road is part of our reconstruction for 2023. So we're actually currently working on design options for that turnaround as well as for the storm water to improve that area.
Okay, so you will be aware of this curve that goes straight down into the river.
Yes.
But they were amazing and I think they looked outside the box and finished cleaning it up. So kudos to them.
I will pass that.
Yeah.
Any other comments? All right, let's move on to item 8. Item 4, we have 2 individuals with their locations in the plan. Getting motion for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 9, report of the bills. Entertain a motion for approval of goods expenditures. $608.81.07.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion second. I saw the back and forth. Any further questions on the bills?
I just have one that kind of came up late. This would be batch 3. Municipal well and pump, and we have 2 bills for well to rehab. What's the well to rehab overage? What is that? Maybe it's just a
Don't know what
lack of description.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm able to answer that one tonight. I'm sorry.
So we'll come back with that one. Okay.
I mean, it's their incidental costs compared to what the cost of the whole project was. So I'm just wondering what that.
And get back to you.
Okay, other questions on the bills? Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Item 10 is motion to convene into a session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 1985-1C. Considering for policy evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction over exercises responsibility to the administrator review.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion second, and we'll follow.
Aye.
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 You're in full session. I expect this to need to be 30-40 minutes, which we may have action afterwards. Mr. Harbeck, I apologize.